Can you shut the door? I'm really lazy. Thank you.
Ayo, something traumatic happened that changed my life, chat.
That people have put forward, and none of them are very comfortable. One is...
Can you see it?
What the fuck?
They were not there before, dude.
Fuck, dude.
Nah. No. No. Bye. Keep fucking going.
They want you to purposely stop.
That's weird.
No, dude. Keep going. Now.
Weirdos.
Yeah, keep going.
Fuck that.
If you scare easily, swipe on. In 1989, a woman started hearing strange banging sounds in her walls and in the ceiling. And then one night, the crawl space to her attic was open, so she went to go have a look. When she's just feet away, an old man suddenly appears in the crawl space and looks her dead in the eye before vanishing. There was nobody else in the house. Worried no one's going to take her seriously over an apparent ghost in her house, she ends up calling a paranormal investigator. When the paranormal crew arrived, they were actually very skeptical until they heard loud banging in the attic and they decided to go up and have a look. As soon as the two men get up into the attic, one of them screams and suddenly disappears. The other, who didn't have a flashlight, starts using the flash on his camera to illuminate the attic. And he takes one of the most famous pictures in paranormal history. His partner, who was in total shock, had been lifted off the ground and tied to one of the beams. That was the last night the woman ever stayed in the house. However, it's still being rented out today, but nobody stays longer than 1 or 2 months.
Now, if your kids say they see faces at their bedroom windows at night, the doctor recommends you might want to believe them. In 2016, a young girl tells her parents she doesn't want to sleep in her bedroom anymore. She says it's due to the deformed man that stands at her window every night and watches her while she sleeps. In her fear, the girl sets up this booby trap to her bedroom door with a noose that's attached to a weight. The father's really frustrated about this booby trap because it can really hurt someone, but he allows her to keep it because it makes her feel safe. In August of the same year, the girl screams out to her dad because the man's there again. The father goes outside to check it out. But when he doesn't return, she sets the bedroom door trap. As she hears the footsteps come down the hall, she starts to panic. She screams at the sight of the deformed man in her doorway. As her trap wraps around this man's neck, her mum smashes the guy in the back of the head with a bat. When police later arrive, they're mortified to find the father's decapitated head at the front door. They later find the man they've captured is wanted for rape and murder of 3 other girls in the same state.
These are 3 short horror stories. My wife woke me up last night to tell me that there was an intruder in her house. She was murdered by an intruder 2 years ago. I begin tucking my son into bed and he tells me, "Dad, check for monsters under my bed." I look under the bed and I see him, another him. He is crying and tells me that there is a monster on his bed. Sarah was in her room when her mother yelled her name, so she started heading down. When she got to the stairs, her mother pulled her into her room and she told her, "I heard it too." Then someone started knocking on the door and yelling Sarah with her mother's voice.
Okay, if you've ever heard screaming or a shrieking sound in the middle of the night, it might be this woman. Her name is Banshee. It's said to originate from Ireland, but can affect people all over the world. The story of Banshee goes that she screams in the middle of the night when a death is about to happen. And usually this death could be gruesome, such as murder or dying in a horrible car crash. In other posts that I found online, it says that she does bring people to their death by screaming because people are more likely to go investigate where the scream is coming from. If you hear her screaming, it is important that you do not go towards her because sometimes she may appear to be a young, beautiful woman or an old, ugly hag. Regardless, she does have silver hair, silver long hair. So if you hear screaming in the middle of the night, it might be her.
Whether you believe this video is real or not, it is undeniably scary. In 2003, guests at a hotel started calling the front desk about a screaming woman on the second floor, so the security guard went to go have a look. As he's making his way upstairs, the dispatcher tells him it's room 209 and no one's checked into that room. When he gets outside room 209, he hears it too. Take a listen. The security guard is visibly shaken, but finally musters the courage to go into the room to investigate, only to come out seconds later with a terrifying report.
John wants you to call the police right now if you don't mind. He says no one's in there, but that all of the furniture's been turned upside down.
No one knows what happened in room 209, and despite numerous investigations, no one's debunked this footage. Over the years, the hotel has had dozens of noise complaints from that room.
Lexie? 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 Hey. Stop staring at me like that. Alexis! Yo, you're starting to freak me the fuck out. Mom! 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 Stop! Why are you crying? Hello? Lexie? Mom! She's just standing here staring at me. Screaming.
Relax. Hey. Hey, go lay down.
Top 10 scariest creepypastas that might freak you out. Part 6. Number 5. This one is called Lightning. This is about a boy and his father moving into a new house on the night of a big storm. Now the little boy loves lightning and talks about it the whole day, but he loves it a little too much. He talks about it for the next few nights in a row. In the morning, he wakes up and tells his dad all about the lightning the previous night. But his father says there are no more storms, it was just a dream from the first night. The day after that is when the horror part starts. The next day the dad's reading the paper and there's an article in the newspaper. A man was just arrested for taking pictures of little boys through their windows at night while they were sleeping, while using flash photography. It gets worse when the next day the little boy runs up to his dad and says, "Dad, there's no more lightning." Dad says, "Oh, it must have, I guess, died down." And the boy's like, "No, now it's in my closet." Number 4. The girl in the photograph. At school one day, this boy finds a photograph in the grass outside of his school. It's a picture of the most beautiful girl he's ever seen. She had blonde hair and was doing a peace sign, and he wanted to find her. More in part 7.
Story's called Bloodbath. About a week or so just after a family had finished the renovation on their bathroom, their daughter was having a bath. Everyone in the family was a bit creeped out by this new bath, because every time someone was using it, they felt like someone was watching them and felt really creeped out. As she was relaxing and slid down into the bath under the water, she felt someone hold her down. She struggled and panicked, and when she opened her eyes and came up, there was no one there. Freaked out by this, the next day she headed down to the antique store where her parents purchased the bath. When she told the lady about the bath, the lady said, "Oh, not again." She told the girl about the horrific story of the woman who owned the Clawfoot Bath prior, and how she had drowned all of her children in that bath after going crazy. The girl sprinted home as fast as she could. When she got home, she found her sister upstairs. She was in the bath. When they finally broke down the door, it was too late. Her sister was gone.
5 fun horror movie facts that live in my mind rent-free, Conjuring edition. The film was originally going to be called The Warren Files because it's based on a true story of an Ed and Lorraine Warren investigation. The real Lorraine Warren makes a cameo in the film in the opening scene when they're teaching a class. The current owners of the house that they used to film it actually sued the producers after the movie was released because they got a lot of vandalism and threats. Screenings in the Philippines had to be blessed by priests after several people experienced very negative physical side effects to the film. At the end of the film, when Lorraine tells her husband Ed that she'd gotten a call from the priest about a case in Long Island, this is actually a reference to the Amityville case, which was the inspiration for the film The Amityville Horror.
If you ever feel something press against you while you sleep, you better hope it's not a Bozo. Bozos are undead monks who, while training to become one, abused and violated their training. In order to survive, they must feed on the breath of humans, usually while that human is sleeping. They look like gray-skinned monks, but instead a Bozo likes to hunt real-life monks out of pure jealousy. They also love to hunt women. They will sneak into their room at midnight while they're still sleeping and stick their tongue in their mouth and their ear. Yuck. People have said that the creature smells like rotting fish or garbage, and if you were to smell it, you are sure to get sick.
This creature can be found on the Orkney Islands off the north coast of Scotland. It's the half-human, half-horse hybrid for me. Known as a Knuckle, this horse-like demon is from Orcadian mythology. British folklorist Catherine Briggs called it the nastiest of all of Scotland's Northern Isles demons. It's said the Knuckle's breath was thought to wilt crops and sicken livestock. Islanders were terrified of the creature and would not speak its name without immediately uttering a prayer. Often found in the vicinity of a beach, it will never come ashore if it's raining. It can't stand fresh water, so if it's chasing you, cross a river or a stream to get rid of it. The Knuckle is imprisoned during the summer months by the Mither o' the Sea, an ancient Orcadian spirit, the only one strong enough to control it. As with similar Scottish folklore, such as the Kelpie, it's probably an explanation for the events that islanders in ancient times couldn't understand. Many ancient myths were based around the turbulent and ever-changing sea around Orkney.
Serial killers who have never been caught and are possibly still on the loose. First, we have the smiley face killer who targeted at least 40 college male students. Each of these students had a high GPA, were very athletic, and were very smart overall. But then they accidentally drowned. When the police did more of an investigation, they suspected that these targets were drugged and then thrown in random water bodies. The creepy part about all of this is in at least 12 of these cases, a smiley face like this with the exact words were found on a tree or on a surface nearby. Next, we have a serial killer who was called Charlie Chopoff. The reason he was called Charlie Chopoff is because he would target young males who were black, and then he would basically cut off their genitals and then stab them to death.
You will never want to be left alone at night again after watching this video. So this 10-year-old boy was left alone at home for the night. He was taking care of his mom's friend's dog. His mother told him that her friend would come over tonight to get the dog. The dog suddenly started barking while looking out the window. The boy tried to see what he was barking at, but it was pretty dark to see outside. He opened the front door and turned on the light. He saw someone in the garden bending over trying to pick something up, but suddenly his mother called him. He went back inside and answered the phone, and she told him that her friend wouldn't come tonight, but he told her that someone was already outside. She immediately freaked out and told him to run upstairs and hide, and he did exactly that. After a few minutes, somebody knocked on the door. He went downstairs and he saw a creepy face staring at him through the window. The boy screamed that the police is on their way, but the other guy didn't move. He kept staring, but the boy ran upstairs. After a few minutes there was a knock again. This time it was the police. The police couldn't find the guy, but the worst part is that he could come back.